And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanny Ford for Rembert here on a Thursday morning. Nice and cool out there this morning. You'd think it's almost fall.
Felt good.
So nice and cool.
Felt good.
God, it's going to be ugly. If you got stuff to do outside, I keep telling people you got to do it early because the weather in this weekend, they're calling for like 97, 98 air temps. That's going to be ugly. I hate to say it. I am so over summertime. If you like summertime, God bless you. That's all I'm going to say because I am not a fan.
Yeah, how about it?
If you look at, let's see. Is it tomorrow? Tomorrow they're looking at, come on. Tomorrow, 80? Tomorrow? Can that be right?
Mm-mm.
That's what the weather bug says. 50% chance of showers.
Man. Hold on. I saw that was next Saturday.
This is
or next Friday.
This Friday the 12th. 92 today, 80 tomorrow, and then 93 Saturday, 97 Sunday, 97 Monday, 98 Tuesday, 96 Wednesday, 94 Thursday.
I guarantee you. Now, I've been tracking this all summer, and every time they put that out a week, it's 2 to 3 degrees cooler by the time it gets there. The whole summer.
Not this time because earlier in the week, end of last week, they were calling for upper 80s and least a 50% chance of showers all week.
I've been watching this stuff because we do Legion Ball almost every night.
Yeah.
And I'll look out a week, okay? Yeah. And 98 on this day, 97 on this day, and then we go out there, it's like 94. Now, again, hey, look, it's weather. I get it. Unpredictable. But, come on.
I'm just going to say it's
summer. Yeah, it's supposed to be hot.
I know.
But
to borrow a phrase from my wife, I don't have to like it, right?
You don't have to like anything.
Okay.
But what is?
Yeah.
And it is this summer?
It's summer.
Then that's the truth.
All year.
Is it hot in the summer?
Well, you're in North Carolina.
Here it is.
You're in North Carolina, so that's the way that's going to work.
Yeah. So tomorrow, 84 here. All right. 84 in Cherville. All right. Mars Hill.
And I'll take it.
86 tomorrow.
I'll take it.
Okay. Just look at these things. That's fine, but it ain't. No. It's summer. It's going to be hot. Hey, turn the page. Right? Everybody's so.
Bob Seger.
So, come on, man.
Come on, man.
It's just cold.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? You're supposed to be like 90 in January?
No, I don't like those days either, just in case anybody's keeping score.
It's the same thing. It's not the heat, it's the
humidity.
Yeah. How about some humility?
Let's see what we got going on. Trying to think. Are you into the Olympics?
No, not really.
I always
I appreciate the athleticism and the competition,
but I always like the winter more than I do summer.
I don't. Yeah,
I got certain events that I like.
The skiing stuff's really cool. Obviously. I can't say that I don't like it, but I don't spend.
It's not a point of watching.
No, I don't spend every week.
I don't
either. Like, who won this and who won that? A lot of these things. They call it their sports. Yeah.
Well, some of it is not. It's not really sports. I don't think. Let's talk a little baseball.
I'm on the pessimistic side today, so
obviously.
Yeah, I'm just
somebody pee-peed in your cornflakes.
No. Okay. It's just the whole thing about I can't believe this. This is the first time for that.
Yeah.
First of all,
no, it's not.
And no, it's not. Okay. And second of all,
all right. We had a Major League Baseball. As we talked the other day, a lot of teams' futures are decided by the All-Star break, which is next week.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. And, it's kind of one of those things to where is that something that needs to be fixed? So I pull this up. This is kind of a ranking of the teams. And right now they're saying there's two what they call super teams as far as kind of unless something just completely falls apart. That's the Braves and the Dodgers. Both of them they're making predictions 99% playoff odds, a 28% World Series odds for the Braves, and they should win over 105 games.
Yeah, in theory.
Yeah. And then the Dodgers should win over 100 games.
I can see that.
99% playoff and 26.5% World Series. You know, the Dodgers have kind of come around to the Dodgers of old. And, you know, one of the things that bothered me, I guess, early on in baseball, I never could understand why Atlanta played in the Dodgers division.
It was the NL West, and Atlanta was part of the NL West, which is
when they were what, Milwaukee?
No. When they were the Braves, they were the NL West. They were in there with L.A. Let's see, oh my gosh, that's back in the '80s. Mm-hmm. But they were in the NL West, even though they were on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Which I didn't understand. Laney, the problem is you're rewarded for failure.
Yeah.
In these draft picks and everything else, and people say, yeah, but they got to be able to rebuild their team.
But some of them don't really do that.
Yeah. So, the thing about fixing it, if you're out by the All-Star game, every game needs to count. And you have to manage your energy the whole season, but every game needs to count.
Yeah.
You don't need to play the first half of the season and say, now we're ready to go.
But
that's what spring training's for.
But this goes back to what I've said before. How much of that is due to playing 162 games? Because in football, in the NFL, every game, every week, if you lose one, maybe not so bad. You lose two, it might be hard for you to get to that playoff. But in baseball, if you drop 2 games out of 162, there's no urgency to win the next game.
Well, okay.
I mean, you got to kind of really slide
I
down.
And
the NBA's the same way.
No, I understand that. And I can see that point. What I'm saying is when it comes down to the pennants mm-hmm. and it comes down to the wild card races, mm-hmm. every game has to count. And, it's a season. There's a lot of injuries. Bryce Harper, I don't think played last night. We were watching some of the game last night. And not that their bodies, as they get older, they play hard, the torque, the energy, everything. I get it. It is a season. It's like a marathon, mm-hmm. right? And not a sprint. And you've got to remain steady. You got to manage your energy, but at the same time, you got to win. And I like the 162 games. I don't. I mean,
I've heard your theory on why you do it.
Yes, and you have to.
To baseball.
Well,
I get
that's
that.
what I saw last night. Guys in there throwing 97. The Philly, for the Dodgers, Philly's going in there and just tear his head off.
Yeah.
Because there's no pitching. It's all throwing. He throws 102. Mm-hmm. Well, what's going to happen in a couple of years is that's going to get caught up to. Like, you can't catch that. That's 102. If the catcher can catch it in the glove, you can catch it with your bat. Mm-hmm. And who was that was talking? Barry Bonds was talking about that. He said, all I'm doing is catching it with the bat instead of you catching it with a glove. Mm-hmm. If he can catch a glove, I can catch it with the bat.
Oh, I agree.
That's the way you roll with it.
I agree.
And you got to stand in there and face it because when they start throwing 97, 98 miles an hour, control goes away.
But baseball like
degree.
That, the pitching in baseball reminds me of the pros in golf mm-hmm. because what's being rewarded is the ones that can just hit it 360 yards down the fairway. It's not shot making. Just like the pitchers that are rewarded are ones that can go out there and go 2, 3, 4 innings at 100 miles an hour instead of a Greg Maddux who could go the whole game and he actually pitched.
Now, Skeens is kind of, he's kind of revamping that, but he is an anomaly. Or he throws 102 and he can go 9.
Right.
If he needs to.
Right.
Right. He sometimes his last pitch is faster than his first, but he is an anomaly. Like this is why they're called pro guys.
Yeah.
And I'm watching all this stuff, these hitting videos that pop up on Facebook on these reels and all this stuff, and these people, this is the way you need to teach them how to hit, and this is the best way to do this, and this. But every player, male, female, softball, baseball, is different.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, this is the way.
No, it's not.
We got to be careful about that.
The way
in earthly talk.
You know what the best is? You know what the best is for a player? Whatever maximizes their natural ability. You can't take a motion that is not completely natural to a player because it's natural with this player. This player achieved ultimate success. You're doing it this way.
Consensus of this way you need to do it.
You can't do that.
I'll give you a great example. On our state championship team here in Maiden, '99, Jared Cheek was our third baseman, and Jared has passed now. He passed this past spring, but anyway, he was a great hitter.
Mm-hmm.
But his hitting stance, his approach, his swing was to the likes of which I've never coached. And since then and before then, okay. Jared hit 900 in the playoffs. You think I'm going to change what he does?
Right.
Because this is the consensus? Are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, I think there's a way that you can enhance and make more efficient, but it doesn't have to be done in the teacher's way. It needs to be done in the student player's way. And that's what the teacher's there to do, is to enhance, not to, which is going on today, not to indoctrinate a certain way of doing things. Is to teach, to be able to understand, be more efficient, to think.
Your job as a coach.
Yeah, doesn't that sound?
For me, your job as a coach is to evaluate that player's capabilities and where they excel and what they excel and how they excel.
Yeah.
And then you adapt your system to what he can do best. You don't have to change everything. I've always looked at that in coaching. You can't just come in and cookie cutter guys, especially when you talk about middle school and high school. You don't have anything
I've
close.
seen it, buddy.
You don't have anything close to the same capabilities of every kid out there on the field.
Oh, I've seen it.
So you have to be able to do that.
Oh,
Stephen Lowe, good morning from hot and humid Great Smoky Mountains.
Oh.
Richie, good morning.
Good
Big
morning.
Brian, good morning.
Good morning.
Richie said, long time no talk, been busy and traveling a little. I did not see anything about Gundy's comments on Ole's DUI. I'll look that up. Richie says, right now I don't see the Braves making the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We'll see. Dodgers, yeah. I'm hoping the Braves do. I want to win the World Series. They're local.
Right.
It's exciting. It's great for the area, 10 hours outside of Atlanta, right? I mean, it's great.
When I was at ESPN, we used to do things with Atlanta, and Charlotte is the second largest ticket sales behind Atlanta. For Atlanta.
For Atlanta, yeah, man.
The Charlotte area sells more tickets than anywhere in the Southeast besides Atlanta.
Love it.
Richie said they were in the West as Milwaukee before moving to Atlanta. The other part is there wasn't a Central until after the Braves moved to Atlanta.
That's right.
MLB didn't have a Central Division until 1994.
Yeah.
They moved Atlanta to the East.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Was that Richie that was saying that? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Richie, I thought with the the way that the dynamics geographically didn't work out, but it was still pretty cool.
There was it was a huge rivalry between Atlanta and the Dodgers.
Oh God! And what's funny is like one of my good friends now, but former players, Brandon Harbison. He's the AD out at Bandy's, right? Assistant principal AD. He is a huge Dodgers fan. Like everybody hears Atlanta. He was always Dodgers.
Brett Keever is.
Oh yeah, which is cool. I mean, look, Boston Braves. Boston Red Sox, Atlanta, all those things. It's cool.
His daddy Keever's a big Red Sox fan.
Yeah, I mean, I like Red Sox.
And then you got Powell. Powell's a huge Giants fan.
Giants fan, yeah.
There's a team or two closer around here.
Let me tell you something. I love Keever and Powell. They're great.
They're
great.
Is a huge St. Louis fan.
St. Louis Cardinals fan.
And it was because when he was growing up, you could catch a St. Louis feed at night off a skip to listen to the Cardinals.
Yeah, and as you know, maybe not our listeners and friends, but as you know, I go to St. Louis quite a bit, with my job. That's where our headquarters at Stiefel is. And I get a chance sometimes when I stay right there at Ballpark, near the Ballpark Village, I get a chance to walk over just a block to the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame stuff, and then they're just kind of their showroom for that, and just remarkable. It kind of gives me goosebumps thinking about the history and how But it's really neat, and whether it's St. Louis or another team, if you're able to, and I want to say I'm talking third person, you're ever able to go do something like that, go do it and just walk through. They just let you walk in. You know, you may or may not have to pay some. I can't remember if it is, but you just go through and
you've paid more for less,
right? And the experience is that where it gives you, and the smells. Like even though they got things behind glassed in or whatever, some things aren't, but most things are. You can still smell. You can still smell. Like there was one glove that was on display that was not quite where you could touch it, but you could smell the leather from. I guess it was back in the teens or 20s. 100 years ago, right? It's like, wow, man. Now I need some old school popcorn, peanuts, and I mean, it was just amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, it's incredible.
The only baseball park I've ever been to is Atlanta. I've seen the I guess they're called the Senators now.
Washington? Washington State. Yeah. I've seen the Montreal Expos.
I discovered them not on purpose but by accident.
Right.
I didn't realize I just riding around D.C. and came upon it. Richie
was talking about the Braves back in the 80s, and when they transitioned from Milwaukee to Atlanta, and they stayed in the West, right, before they did the Central Division, the East, and all that. I had a feed, and Richie might like this, a feed pop up on my reels or whatever last night. And I was looking through. They were talking about it was near the anniversary when Bob Horner hit the 4 home runs in one game.
Yes.
And
I saw that too.
We actually were watching that we had just gotten cable. We had just moved to Valdez, and we had never had cable in our lives. And I was like, I think 11 or 12, and the guys came in to put cable in the middle of the summer. We'd been there like 3 or 4, 2 months or whatever, and they came to put cable in, and it was this network, TBS, and they did these funny times. My dad said, son, they don't start games at 7:35. They start or 8:05 or whatever. They start at 8 o'clock or 7:30. I'm like, no, I'm telling you,
their whole schedule was like
Dad's
that.
like, and I'm telling you from the history of
yeah,
it's not started. Well, how about that? But anyway, that was when Horner. We started watching the Braves, and there was hardly any attendance, and you had Dale Murphy and Rafael Ramirez, Glenn Hubbard, Chris Chambliss, Rick Mailer. You look at these guys and you're like, but personally, I enjoyed watching them, and I enjoyed watching Dale Murphy. And, Ted Simmons was old, but he was one of the catchers. And Horner played third and went up there and just blasted. I mean, Claudell Washington. I mean, I'm going through the stuff here. History, Lanny. It's like anything else. You might not like it, you might love it, but the one thing you can't do is you can't change what happened.
It is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And you embrace it.
Yep.
And you learn from it.
Yep.
Whether it was good or bad, right? And you just go from there.
Richie said when they were in the West, they were bottom feeders, and I remember that. He said tough, they would always get tickets to at least one series against the Dodgers and the Pirates.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And he said that the Red Sox tour in Hall of Fame at Fenway's a must too. That's one ballpark that I do want to go to in baseball. Not a Red Sox fan. I just want to see it.
Let's just go.
Ambiance.
Let's go. No, I'm serious. I'm up in Boston, 2 to 3 times a year. Let's just go.
And then Richie said a huge Braves following in Greenwood. That's where he lives down South Carolina. He said the Braves used to have the Greenwood Braves single A team for the Braves. Some of the alumni came through there: Dusty Baker, Dale Murphy, Brian Snedeker.
Well, I really like Snedeker.
Richie said would have liked to have seen that reel about. I saw it. It didn't say as much to me because I don't know baseball.
Right. It was just a flash, and you had to capture the memories and sitting there of what it felt like watching that.
I will.
They said, here's the 4th time at the plate. He's already had 3 home runs. Boom, does it again.
I'll tell you something that they did last night I saw on a reel. No, this was on YouTube. I got down a rabbit hole watching Terry Gordy, who was one of the fabulous Freebirds back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And it was his Dark Side of the Ring story.
Yeah.
And when it went off, there was a reel popped up, and it was Pete Rose, and he was on a streak. I want to say that game he hit his 50-something straight game with a hit. Mm-hmm. But the part that really got me, and it's had to be in the 80s, and they were playing I thought they were playing the Mets, but it couldn't have been because it looked like it was indoors, and the field looked so funny because it was turf, and the picture quality was so pathetic. You could tell how long ago it was. But it showed him he ripped one right up the middle.
Who was it? Pete Rose?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. I want to say the Mets, and I guess did the Mets ever have turf? Did Cincinnati?
No, but the Astrodome.
Yeah, that's the only one I was thinking of too. Richie said the Greenville Drive is a single A team for the Bo Sox.
Yep.
At Fluor Field has the same dimensions as Fenway.
Oh, it's really cool.
It's even a green monster.
Yeah.
I've heard about that too.
It's pretty cool.
Maybe that's as close as I'll get. Let me take a break.
Man.
Be back in a minute.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with department staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. And we're back. Still fighting some of those summer allergies, but don't take my allergy stuff anymore because it was making me feel worse instead of better. So I just kind of use a nasal spray and move on, and it seems to be working okay. I had sent something to you and this guy comes up with a ton of quality quotes, but Lou Holtz said. He was asked to describe the difference between football players today and those 50 years ago. And he said it's simple. Today's athletes talk about rights and privileges, and the players 50 years ago talked about obligation and responsibilities. And it's just a change in the philosophy. Not, all change is not good, just in case you're wondering. But that's just, I thought those were kind of wise words you need to live by just a little bit. Is your blood pressure good today? Because I was going to bring something up.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay.
Yeah, it was down a little bit yesterday.
Okay.
So.
All right. You know what's going on in Charlotte? Copa.
Oh, yeah.
But they've been having
Andrew and I were talking about it.
Huge crowds down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go ahead and just play dumb.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. I know it's soccer.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the playoffs for soccer.
But there's so many different soccer.
Yeah, but it's a big deal. I mean, these are like Andrew and I were talking about it, and this is going to bring out, like you said, they're having huge crowds. There's a reason for that. I mean, this is global.
Yes.
It's not just like a league.
But it's kind of the first time I think that the United States has been involved, isn't it? On a world scene. Okay.
According to Andrew, no.
Okay. Well, he's a soccer guy.
Yeah, and he understands all that, and which is great. I mean, it's good revenue for the city of Charlotte, but it goes back to my theory about Bank of America Stadium. The renovations that have been done are not for football. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
David Tepper bought the Panthers, right? Bank of America Stadium brings a soccer team in, right? So he went from 2 to 3. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens if eventually a football stadium's built? You got 2 and 2. It's about one franchise and stadium, right? With a stadium. Mm-hmm. And will turn into 2.
Well, with the
I have no evidence of that. Nobody's ever said
but with the
anything.
improvements,
I just really believe
everybody wanting to do the improvements. The Panthers can't leave there for 15 years. It's a 20-year lease, but they have an out in 15.
Well, they have an out anytime they want it. They just have to pay a penalty for it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's contract law, and contracts can be broken. You just have to.
Well, I'll say this. I don't really care what he brings, but I think it's really good that you've got a facility like that and you're trying to maximize that facility other than 8 times a year. Because of an NFL stadium, other than a couple playoff games.
Plus the college football
games.
games.
And they have brought some of those in. Yeah. But, it's good to see multi-use come in there. I mean, other places do concerts and they do all kind of things in stadiums like that.
Absolutely.
And it should be. I mean, all of that helps the downtown economy and businesses that are there locally. So I don't really have
a lot of people. I just don't know how much things are helping.
Yeah.
And that's not an unfair statement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hopefully things will continue to start improving.
Yeah, I know the Knights. The Knights Stadium really, really big when they first opened. Now I don't know how big it is now, but it was more of a. I think I told you about they called it the home run porch or something. It was deep in right field, and it was like $5 to get in to get a standing room ticket. But it was like an outside bar up there, but it was covered.
Oh, it's cool.
But there were a lot of people would come there if a game was going on instead of going to a local bar to get a drink or a beer. They would come there and they'd catch a little baseball and hang out with friends, and then
go to the little bit later venue.
Yeah,
right?
But it was that was. I think that was very smart on their part to put something else in there.
They built it down in the city, right, where you look up and see it, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just a couple blocks from Panther Stadium.
Again, not the eternal pessimist here. This is the thing. Every year, you get hit, I get hit, everybody gets blasting their emails. Hey, season tickets, PSLs, let's do this, let's do that. Okay? If I'm going to invest my time, effort, energy, and money into something, I want to make sure that everything is being done to maximize that experience for whatever I'm interested in. I think it's great if they want to do soccer. They want to do concerts. They want to come in and play cricket. I'm being serious, roll a bat, whatever it is they want to do. Okay, that's great. Me, I'm interested in football.
Right.
Football Americano, right?
As long as what you're basically saying is, as long as they don't forget and continue to improve the experience for the football audience.
Which it's I have not been to a Panthers game in 12, 15 years. I'm sure it's been that long.
Well, the Panthers, like a lot of other stadiums, and I don't really know the economics behind why, but a lot of stadiums are being built smaller with more luxury spots and less seat-by-seat stuff because they can't sell them. People are not going for, $100 a ticket to sit in 90-degree heat in September.
I mean, direct sun.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting beside people that, and look, it's an open venue. People can do whatever they want to do, but I don't have to be. I mean, I got, my kids were young.
I don't like the environment.
Exposed. I mean,
I'm not crazy about the environment.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just me.
Whatever, man.
Everybody else has got their own opinion.
And people I know Wayne and Steven go all the time.
Yeah.
And they have a great time, and I think it's awesome, and I love the pictures and hearing all about it and these kind of things. I think the last time I went with Wayne. But I just
not when I can sit at the house and control the environment. No, I agree.
Yeah.
2 more things let me ask you about. This is something that's gotten a lot of talk, and I don't understand what the big deal is because it's kind of like when you offer a kid a scholarship when he's a junior. There's nothing there. Nothing could happen. Utah coach Kyle Whittingham expects a seamless transition when defensive coordinator Morgan Scalley, who was named last week as the Utes coach in waiting, although no date has been set aside for Whittingham to step aside. Who was the last, I guess, famous coach in waiting that it didn't work out for because
who was that?
Jimbo. Jimbo, was
Jimbo
he not
Fisher.
Was he not the coach in waiting at Florida State?
Yeah, but he won the national championship.
I know, but what I'm saying,
he left and went to the thing about Florida State was this, and you're bringing up a very good point. He went to them and said, look, we've got to get ahead on the facilities. We got to get this done, this is done. No, we're Florida State. We got tradition here. We're going to do this. And he said, fine, I'm going to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Now, hey, it is what it is where he went. But, this whole thing and thinking about the transfer portal, and we're talking about how many baseball players were in it.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. We're talking about the coaching officer today, but we're going to have to get a hold on things because it is a body that has to work together. It's not just about players, and it's not just about coaches. It's about all of it. It has to work together. You can't have a Ferrari, all right, that's running really well because you got to have brakes on it. You got to have a steering wheel. It can't just go 100 miles an hour, all the time, right? You got to have parts that work together to make the machine whole. And what's happening is the coach can leave at any time for any reason, but then the kids can only go when the portal's open, right? So what did the LR do with baseball here last week? Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
All right, so we're playing at Union County, and one of our players plays at LR. Says, Coach, I got a conference call at 3 o'clock. I think Coach Ramirez is leaving. Sure, no problem. Game started at 3. He goes back here behind the dugout, gets on the conference call with the team. They waited till after the portal closed where players couldn't leave.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like the thing, we always talk about the players play. The coaches have to be, part of this equation too. What have we seen in college basketball?
Yeah, but I've always told you this. I think even before there was a portal, any kid where the coach leaves in the middle of your tenure should have the right to move anywhere they want to with no exceptions and no holdback.
This is where the accountability and the loyalty, it's just not with the kids.
Yeah.
The same thing with your AD. If your AD just jumps and takes a job, look what happened with Texas A&M. They go to the College World Series, and their coach says that night after they get beat, I'm here at Texas A&M. Don't talk about me going to Texas anymore. That's not an option. Next morning, he's gone to Texas. Now, people can criticize him fairly for saying that because he knew he's going, where he just said, I have no comment. Okay, that's fine. But, to hold the players, we can talk about education all we want, okay? And we can beat that horse to death. And it is incredibly important. But when it comes down to it, it's about where you're going, who you're playing for for the best experience you can have. Because it's not about that. It's about you and your experience and then being part of a team to maximize that. That's where it all starts. It has to start with the individual, then become a part of the team, and then build from there, and then go out. That's not happening. Everything is about the individual, whether it be a player or coach, and it can't work like that.
Let me ask you this question because I don't know baseball, okay? When you have a coach that leaves in football or basketball, the entire philosophy on both sides of the ball can change. The way they want to do things, go from a running team to a pass team, whatever. In baseball, how much of that do you have at that level that if a coach changes, that the composition of the team would change based on how they want to play?
Because it's all about philosophy. You may have a coach. You may have a coach that wants to bunt a lot.
Right.
That was there, and we can take. Let's see, what team was that in the SAC that did that? Well, anyway, there was a team in the SAC that they bunted like 12 times a game. Well, that's the kind of players they got. Little guys. Go over and lay it down and run fast. Okay, what if that coach leaves and goes somewhere else and they bring a guy in like me that wants to do a combination of both? But I like having big kids to pound on people, right? I say big. I'm talking about bigger size because it takes more effort when you're pitching to a bigger – and let me explain this to you. The threat is always greater than the actual action when it comes to baseball.
Right.
That doesn't mean that the action doesn't occur and the threat was right.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're – Quinn and G. Quinn's 19, G's 13. Both of them at the plate. How much energy are they going to put with Quinn being 19 trying to get him out versus G being 13 getting him out?
It's going to be different.
Yes. So the point of all this is philosophies by coaches are different in the way they perceive the game and what they're looking for to build what they do. I'm not being critical of big and small people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's different philosophies based on experiences and what they believe holds true. Right?
I just didn't know if today, especially in Major League Baseball, you don't see a big difference in philosophies in teams as far as whether they want to play small ball or big ball.
In Major League Baseball?
Yeah.
That's because
it's analytics and it's hitting the long ball.
I agree with that, but it's really because it's a business and they've got to sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And the baseball purist loves small ball. Mm-hmm. The baseball watchers, experienced people, want to see 110 miles an hour and 500 home runs. Again, I agree with that, but that is where we are with that.
Yeah.
So the purest form, used to be high school ball and Legion ball, and what's happened is college baseball is starting to take that over again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The problem is you got players running around everywhere. So-and-so doesn't recognize my talent, so I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that may or may not be true. Number one, is the environment good? If the answer is yes, go to number two. Are you getting an opportunity? An opportunity to display your skills in practice, to have a chance to go in and play in a game and display what you can do there. If the answer is yes to both of those, then you're in a good situation.
But, the thing is, when a player says he's not recognizing my skills, the problem may be is you don't have the skills that he's looking for his philosophy of game.
But when you are big fish, small pond, and nobody's ever told you the truth, to shut your mouth, and stop talking so much. And, God gave you 2 ears and one mouth. Why don't you start listening twice as much as you talking that's coming out of your mouth?
Right.
Okay? So, there's no honesty in direct conversation because you might hurt someone's feelings.
Right.
Okay? And that's what leads to confusion that could lead to, needing help because you're confused because you don't understand why someone would tell you the truth and you can't handle hearing it.
Right.
What I'm saying is all of this is creating chaos. And we've got to we've seen this the last, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. We got to get rid of the chaos stuff which I think some of it's intentional, all right, we got to get rid of this and get back into what is truth and what is right, because it's messing up the dynamics of not only the college environment but also the high school environment, and then for people going out in the real world. All of this is creating chaos because it's based off a false premise.
Well, here's the thing:
that you are wanted. You are only wanted for what you can provide. Okay, and they think they want them when they train. Well, I'm going here because they want me. No, they want what you provide for them.
You're just meat on the table,
right? And what you have to do is you have to be able to come to grips with that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say you have a great. I'll give an example of this. All right. You've got a really, really good quarterback, and he plays behind somebody at a university, and he's probably the second or third best quarterback in the country. And he says, I'm leaving this place. I'm going to the University of Lady Ford, all right? And I'm going to be on the national stage, and I'm going to do this. You're going to pay me $2 million to come here. A week later, he's in a car wreck. Terrible. I mean, I don't wish this on him. I'm just giving an example. He can no longer play football. Well, after everybody says how sorry they are for about 6 weeks, things go away. Well, that person never knew their real value because they weren't told the truth. We want what you can bring, not you.
But to me,
and where you develop the you is in the team environment, the team setting, and you develop with a coach like Coach Ford, okay, that tells you the truth.
But to me,
and that's how you learn to take care of your family, take care of your business down the road, and keep getting up every day. And right now, I'm going to jump here, I'm going to jump there, I'm going to jump here, I'm going to jump there.
But I put a lot of that, I'm sorry,
and the college coaches
player.
are to blame for it.
I put a lot of that on the player because you have as much responsibility to analyze and know where you are and what you can do, not based on what anybody told you.
But they have no life experience. So who do I blame? I blame the parents and I blame the coaches because there's no guidance going on. There's only appeasement. And it starts at junior high, middle school, goes all the way through high school by not holding your best players accountable, all right? And then they just keep getting these things. The greatest example of this is Bronny James being drafted by the Lakers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and I'm sure he's a fine young man. I've never, not that I've researched a lot, but I've never heard anybody say that, oh, he's what. That's great. But are you kidding me? Really? No truth, man.
But here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that everybody that follows the Lakers, involved with the Lakers, if they were honest about it, they would all admit we did it for one reason. It wasn't to make this team better.
Well, why not just come out and say that?
Well,
but we got their coach out there saying, well, I really believe with developmental this and developmental that, he can do this and do that. If you really believe that, that's great. But I don't believe you.
But he couldn't start on a team that wasn't a top 25 team.
And it's not. I'm not slamming him per se. I'm talking about the idea and the way things have transitioned where they are. And you know what? Some people are okay with that.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are people starving and people that need food. Okay, so and the importance of things in the world. We're just talking sports here and the importance of that. Yeah, it's pretty low on my thing. But at the same time, when we're asked to invest our time and energy into those things, all right, which divert away from helping other people that have real issues, then I want this to be the highest quality it can be, and it's not.
Let me give you a couple comments that came in. Richie said that this is a soccer tournament between North and South America teams.
Yep.
And U.S. has always competed in Copa. They just have to compete against countries like Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, and a few other countries with rich soccer history. Milton saying good morning. And he said you can't pack a stadium when the team is awful. Richie said the last coach in waiting that did not work out was Will Muschamp. Steven said 2026 World Cup is in North America. Tepper might try to be getting a stadium in one of the host sites. Milton said, my nephew had 3 different baseball coaches at LR in 4 years, got hosed. When you have a changeover in leadership like that, it's hard. Well, I'll give you another example. Trevor Lawrence at Jacksonville, and there's other quarterbacks inside the NFL that have had a different coach or coordinator every year. It's hard to build any consistency with anything if you don't have consistency in what you're doing.
Yeah, and when coaches come in, they want to bring their players in, because if they win with somebody else's, the ego gets involved and say, well, those weren't your players, they were his. And then all of a sudden, well, you can't say that, I'm coaching. They put ego in front of the process, right? Nick Saban did not do that at Alabama. He started recruiting the players that he felt were going to be the best players, right? And he gave opportunity for the other ones that he didn't feel like could make the team or could benefit, give them an opportunity to go play somewhere else. But the ones that wanted to stay, he gave opportunity to. Nobody can ever say that, now did he probably know in his mind that, that kid's probably not going to be able to do it, but they participated in drills, they participated in live activity. He got to appropriately evaluate every player. And that's in Lanny, what's happened is we've gotten away from evaluation and reflection and talking to players, and we're only worried about the end result. And what happens is there can only be one champion in the league or the division you're playing in. So if you have 30 coaches doing that, that's 29. That's still 30 too many that are doing that. You have to be about the player, their growth and development, reflection, given opportunity. The worst thing in the world to do is to show up and start prepping for a week and never give the 2s and 3s an opportunity to run what the 1s are doing. They're just practice dummies. You can't do that and have a meaningful experience. You can if you have an ego and all you worried about is winning. The thing about it is, I'll lose my job if I don't win. Newsflash. There are very few coaches, very few, that are left. Now it's, 1 or 2 years and I'm gone, or I want to go on this. I'll coach your team, but I got to go on a golf trip. It's drastically changing. And, change is going to happen.
The commitment side of it.
Yeah, but it doesn't make it right either just because it's changing. We have to accept change and embrace it, but it doesn't make it right.
Yeah. I don't know if this is Richie said even though it is wrong, I kind of understand on waiting on a coaching move after the portal's closed. That lets you bring in the coach and let the players get to meet them instead of just jumping ship, talking about the team that he's going to. Now, I get that most players commit to a coach and the program that's being built and not the school. But my question is, I wonder if there is an exception in the transfer rule that says if the coach leaves, okay.
There's not, but this is what's cool. LR, I believe, is promoting the pitching coach to the head coach.
I think that's right.
So a lot of players know him. So to Richie's point, regardless of whether it's after, before, or during portal, they are familiar with who they got. The problem is the ones that may not have the relationship with the pitching coach that the other ones do are now in limbo. And, my thing is I really believe that in order to make the whole thing work, that coaches have to be held, because they're part of the process, to a standard, not the same one as players, because you have to have a level of authority, to make things work. Right now that's reversed. But you have to do that. And, I still really think that if a coach leaves, then they need to sit out if they're not letting the players do it.
I agree. I just think that there has to be the same level of standards.
I don't like, Calipari, for example, which I do like him. I don't like the fact that he could leave one place under investigation and go to another one while the school's being punished. Well, yeah, they need to know who they're hiring and keep tabs on things, but at the same time, you can't watch everything all the time, and you have to be able to work with your employees and, that kind of thing. There's a lot of room for improvement. I still think there doesn't need to be a governing body. I think there needs to be a large committee of 20 to 30 people, but there needs to be one person that makes the final decision with all the input from all the people around. And until we do that, chaos is going to continue to ensue.
No, I agree.
We have a commissioner in the NFL, and if he wants something done, he's going to do it.
Well, that's why the pro leagues have considerably more stability, because one person is going to make that change.
It's business
but
minded.
College sports is business too.
do not disagree with that. They're still trying to play under the premise of academic business when it is not.
Yep.
All right.
And I've said this before. I think it will come back to that because there will be a split between the ones that says, hey, I can't play on that level. I just want to go back like it used to be.
Or I don't want to play
at that level. Right.
Like
That's not what our university and athletic experience is about.
I can tell you this. You are much better to take a stance and put restrictions on things and guidelines on it to get the people you want in than just saying it's a free-for-all, let's go get it, and then trying to pick from that. Because people want structure and discipline and focus. Now, opportunity needs to be opened up, right? But there's still guidelines that you need to go by. You can't walk into a government agency right now because you don't have the credentials to go in, right? I'm talking about a serious place like the CIA or something high level, right? Because you don't have the credentials to go in there. You have to go through certain steps to be hired and then trained and national security. I'm just giving an example. What if you ran your program like that? Where you said, we're not interested in anyone that doesn't, and again, I'm throwing stuff out there, but we're not interested in any player that has below a 3.2 GPA in high school. And again, I'm just giving a number. We're not interested in any player that has had a disciplinary background that has not shown consistency in trying to do the right thing for right reasons. We're not interested in any players that may want to come here that, have not displayed team-oriented characteristics or not been involved in X number of activities, volunteer stuff. Again, I'm not saying they should. I'm just giving an example. If you set the standard really high and you hold everybody to it, all of a sudden more people want to be in charge, want to be part of that. And so they start modifying their behavior to get an opportunity to do that. And there's a lot of thinking, Lanny, that goes the other way on these things because they feel like it decreases opportunity for people. But when you are belonging to something like a team like that or a program, the standard needs to be set high, and everyone in it needs to be held accountable.
Right.
And that is not going on right now.
Right.
And that's why we have chaos, and that's why I'm very disinterested basically in college football right now. And I'm talking about Division I football with everybody jumping here and going here and recruiting players from this team. And there's the loyalty side of things, the development. Again, coach leaves, I get it. Other than that, if the experience is not good and the environment's bad, you need to get out. But if the environment's good and you're getting the opportunity through the experience, then you need to stay and work your butt off.
I would say there is a small percentage of players that have gone into the portal that actually demonstrate I need to move to another place because I have developed and I can get more opportunities. But I think that percentage is small.
Well, it's cherry picking, though.
I think it's –
of course it is, but it's cherry picking.
But those are the people that need to be in the portal because they're able to do it for themselves, and they get picked up. The ones that go into the portal because they're dissatisfied, there's still a lot of them left in the portal.
Well, they're going to stay in it.
And they don't get
Nobody
picked up,
picks them up.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. Well, dissatisfied.
Because you really didn't have an issue to get in the portal anyway.
Right. So, again, if the environment's not good and or you're not getting an opportunity, the environment could be good, but you're not getting an opportunity,
right,
then there's an issue there too.
And it could be because your skill sets are not what they're utilizing to
So, therefore, you should look appropriately to your skill set. The problem is what Saban talked about. If we open this thing up, the rich are going to get richer and it's going to cause chaos. He's like, it's not going to hurt my program. Because the best players, because of NFL coaches and the way we develop players, they're going to want to come here. Nothing's going to change. It's only going to make us better. The problem is it's going to hurt Southern Miss. It's going to hurt, Alabama, Birmingham. It's going to hurt College of Charleston. It's because they're just going to be sucking.
And that's what
out.
I said. They've got to go back and do a self-evaluation of who you want to be, and say, okay, we're not going to play by those rules. We're going to have rules that are a little stricter to the way that our philosophy of how an intercollegiate athletic program should be run. And I think that's going to happen.
But you still have to have rules within that say if you leave without any events going on, and you made a bad decision or it ended up not being good, you still have to sit out.
Yeah.
You have to.
The only exception is if a coach leaves.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If you don't have a qualifying event,
Yeah.
whatever that may be, there's the only way to fix this is to come in and say these are rules and that's it.
Yeah.
No exceptions.
But there's no organization, so they can't do that.
Right, and the problem is because everything is its own situation that we get into the feels of everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then, well, I can't believe they didn't let him do that. And I can't. Oh, it's so tragic. It's so terrible. No, people not having anything to eat or a place to live, a shelter over their head is terrible. Yeah, I remember years ago they were talking about trying to finish exams before Christmas, and I actually heard somebody on the school board. I can't remember if it was. I can't remember which one it was. Say that it was tragic. It was just tragic that a kid had to come back after Christmas and take an exam, and I'm like, what? Tragic? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's called adversity.
Yeah. Learn to deal with it. All right, guys, have a good week. Are you in town next week?
Let's see. Yep.
Baseball
Tuesday.
next week?
Yeah. State championship starts
19th.
Next not Friday night, next Saturday. The parade and all that they have.
Okay.
And the banquet, all that will go on Friday night. They'll have like a band or something going on. It's like a parade and all these things.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's a big thing.
And then we start playing on Saturday. And right now Union County's up 2-0 on Rutherford.
Yeah.
Union County put us out. Come back. We were up 2-0 in the bottom of the sixth. They came out in top of the seventh to put 4 on us. And our both pitchers threw great. I mean, it was an incredible game.
That's what you're looking for.
We had like 3 hits or 4 hits. They had like 5. Pitchers were both throwing great. Eli Newsom, our guy, threw great. The kid from Union's really good. He threw awesome. It was a great baseball game. We're sitting there, and I'm like, how did we just lose that game? And it really wasn't what we did. It's what they did.
But that's what you want to see.
And I was talking to BD after the game and Drew and everything. I said, guys, I got to be honest with you. I mean, I hate losing as much as anybody. I hate we're out. I said, but he's like, hey, man, the kids decided that game.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I ain't got no – I don't have a problem with it. He said, look, that's the way it goes. That's baseball.
Yeah. Yep.
He's like, now if – if we had mental errors and didn't do the best we do, or the umpire maybe had a hand in this, then yeah, it's different.
Right.
But that's not what happened. The kids decided everything on, and it was a clean game.
That's the way you want to see it.
And so we, but in a way it kind of helps us because we get a week and a half to rest our arms while everybody else is using theirs.
That's because you've got to bid because you're host city.
Right.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that we are one of the top in our division, which is very, very good. Very good. I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised at that, of how good the baseball is. There were 7-8 teams in our league that were really good and had college arms on them, and so the experience this year was much enhanced as to what I've seen the last several years. Following it and just kind of whatever. I like the direction it's going. We have less teams. We only have 11 teams instead of like 20. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the quality was much better. Union County's got 9 high schools.
Yeah.
Plus all the Christian schools or private schools down there. Yeah. Now, you can only draw 7,500, so each enrollment counts. You got a kid from there. You got to count that enrollment. You got a kid from it, right? But they got a great mix to pull from. But they pull from a kid from West Stanley County as well.
Right.
And they have to count that enrollment. But so, if the kid from a high school, let's say the kid from Parkwood didn't play, then you don't count their enrollment, right? It's 7,500, which is up from the 5,000 it used to be, which is good. It needs to be. They needed to improve the quality and get rid of the quantity. And then what will happen is, as the quality increases, then the quantity will follow because it's set at a higher standard, right? And that was what I was arguing years ago when they started, team here, team there, do that. I'm like, this is going to take away from the quality. And in a couple of years, when the parents that started these teams their kids get through because they're pissed because they got cut from the team, the big team over here, and they started their own. When they're gone, then they're going to have a bunch of 8th and 9th graders playing.
Yeah.
And that's not what American Legion Baseball is. I said it's going to make the league crap for several years. Well, sure enough, being a lifelong Legion guy, watching it as a player, many years as a coach, what did it do? Boom.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden all these teams are gone. Well, it made the league a lot better because now good players want to play together.
Right.
So you got your college kids that are eligible. They can't turn 20 this year. They can be 19. They can't turn 20. And you got a bunch of high school seniors. I think every kid on Union County's team was a high school senior, with except for I think they had a couple college arms, but each one of them were going somewhere to play. So it was really high quality, very good baseball.
That's what you want to see.
Rutherford County, same way. Cherville's Legion team. We got some younger players that are out there, like 3 or 4, but they're really good players. But we also got like 6 or 7 college kids, 5 or 6 high school seniors. So good baseball. And Shelby, same way. It was a great league to be a part of.
Hopefully the state tournament will be good too.
I got to tell you, we've been keeping up with that. I know we got to go. Sorry. We've been keeping up with that. And the teams down east, there's not many teams, but the teams that are there are pretty good. And, down east baseball, I played East Carolina. I lived in the Whiteville area, Lake Waccamaw, when I was a kid. There's a lot of good baseball down there in Wilmington, Whiteville, all that. So I'm expecting a pretty good state championship series. The fact that we're going to be in, which we are one of the better teams in the state.
Right.
The best? No, I would say not, but one of the better ones. So being there, even though we're the host, we be there and playing that level, right? But the fact that either Rutherford or Union, Shelby more than likely, you're going to get 3 really good local teams out of that. But then the other 5 that are coming in are going to be pretty doggone good too. It's going to be good baseball.
All right, guys, have a good. Don't forget the boys will be in here Saturday.
It's not going to be as hot next weekend either, under what they're saying now. So
and they'll update you on what's going on in Legion ball.
Yep.
Have a good day, guys.